Good morning, everyone. Kate Bora and Fiona Pearman joining you for this week's Facebook Live, where we're digging into the importance of creating community. And today we want to talk about how to go about doing this. I think some of this feels like it should be easy, and we know that people don't make it a priority. They don't actively get out there and build what we call their support team. So firstly, let's start with how to do this at an individual level. And I think really proactively getting outside your kind of day-to-day working environment, whether that's in your organization or outside your organization, to be able to connect, to have conversations. Sometimes they might just be one-off conversations. Other times those conversations can translate to all sorts of things. I used to run a community for young professional women. We'd have networking events, the friendships, sometimes flatmates, all sorts of incredible things came from some of the connections that were made at those events. And so I always say you never know where a hello will go. So just, making it a priority to get out there and to, start some of the conversations and connections.
Yeah, I think there's a big piece here about thinking, where can I go with this? Getting quite strategic and judicious. You're not going to be able to do everything, but what are the places? Are there some internal groups? A lot of organisations have employee resource groups, which allow you to connect internally. There can be projects and teams that might be worth getting involved with or being an observer on. There are industry groups. We're very fortunate to work with some incredible partners that have got deep knowledge and support for women in certain industries. And I think they're worth seeking out and spending time with. Look at what's available both internally and externally. And some of the lovely things actually, in our program, our Acts of Confidence program, we've got people from all over the globe, and the connections that are made and the lovely delight that people have in finding out, oh, it's not just me, but other women around the world also find this networking, this reaching out a little bit tricky. And so I think that leads into another place here of taking small experiments together, experimenting with other people, being willing to reach out to one person. Maybe you've been in another environment or you've heard them mention that they find this quite tricky too, and just see if they've got time for a coffee or a catch up. Just making that a priority and leaning into the conversation is often all it takes to build rapport, and that can lead to so many other things.
Yeah, I think, asking around your leader, colleagues, who do you know, who might know someone or who, asking them to make an introduction. Sometimes that can be a little bit easier when someone can make you a warm introduction. I think, it can feel a little bit awkward, which is why having a clear intention, even if it's just, I want to understand your experience on this project. I think you want to, it's useful, and I shared this with a client the other day, to look at globally as well, particularly if you're part of a multinational company. That client is a bit of a lone ranger in Australia. So, reach out to colleagues, over in Europe, over in the US, find out what they're doing, learn from them. So it does take effort. It does take making it a priority, and be willing to reach out and ask for help in doing that.
Yeah, I think the more you're conscious of what's going on, the more willing you are to ask questions, the more willing you are to engage. If you do go to events or you're part of a community, be active, be engaged. Maybe put your hand up for a volunteer role so that you've got more connection. The more you participate, the more present you are to that, the more likely you are to build this sense of community. And, the thing we would certainly say is we invite you into our community. Make sure you're connected to us and when our events are happening, so that you can be part of that, because it is one of the things we hear repeatedly, how much women love being in the company of other women and working on these challenges together.
Yeah, I think there's also an opportunity for leaders to encourage their people to build their network beyond their day-to-day, their immediate team. And so encouraging your team members to connect cross-functionally, to connect globally, to connect at an industry level is something that's really valuable. Perhaps making some of those introductions, as we talked about a moment ago, where that feels possible. And I think sharing your own story, modeling this for them, demonstrating not only the behavior, but actually the benefits of getting out there and really building your network and your community outside the day-to-day can be really valuable for people.
Yeah, so much here to expand your sense of who's on your team and who's in your camp to support you. Look, if this video has resonated for you, certainly follow us on Facebook. If you'd like to know more about our work, you can head to our YouTube channel. There is hundreds of videos there. And if there's someone else you think could benefit from this conversation, please tag them and include them in the chats down below. And if you'd like to go deeper with your relationship with core confidence, check out our website, coreconfidence.com.au.